Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the other side of the coin and welcome to your latest Chelsea news. Look, the international break, the international break is all about nonsense. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is absolute nonsense. We're going to talk about the nonsense, but at the same time, we're going to try and entertain what if this is actually true. We will try and put some logic around it, but of course, we have to talk about why this is an absolute nonsense. Because, look, first of all, David Ornstein has done a madness. David Ornstein, by endorsing these absolute Jutias, honestly, I wish David Ornstein never did this, but he did. He made them special over the last summer transfer window because of the Belieber news for Man United. I believe it was the Belieber news for Man United. And since then, Indy Kyla, these guys have run amok. They are going out there and just causing havoc. And the latest havoc that they've caused, ladies and gentlemen, is exclusive. And these guys, they have a certain style. I don't know if you guys follow Indy Kyla. I follow them because of pure entertainment now. And off the back of David Ornstein, endorsing them. Biggest mistake David Ornstein's ever made. I thought, let me follow them. They've got a certain style. These guys have a way to deliver their news. They don't just deliver it willy-nilly. They'll prep you. They'll say, early morning UK, that certain time down the track today, maybe 2 p.m., 4 p.m. UK time, there's going to be a bomber. There's going to be a big news. So they make you wait. They really try and marinate the news, and they really try and make a nice masala out of it so that the best tandoori chicken happens for that afternoon or for that evening or whatever the case is. So they've done the same thing over here, and this is the exclusive news. Exclusive. Chelsea to make official offer for Ivan Toney in January. 6 month loan, 70% wages covered, loan with an option to buy. I mean, where do we begin? Where do we begin with this nonsense? As I said, we're going to talk about the nonsense first, and then we're going to try and formulate whether there could possibly be some truth around it. Because if this comes true, this account is going to blow up on X. I'm telling you right now. If this news actually comes true, this account will go to 1 million plus in terms of people following. So let's talk about the nonsense first, right? 6 month loan. Okay, well, that part may not be supremely nonsense, but in a sense, does Chelsea Football Club really do 6 month loans? I mean, we have recently with Bonanote, but it's not a 6 month loan, it's a season-long loan. So maybe that part may not be entirely nonsense. 70% wages covered. Let's talk about this. Ivan Toney's wages, approximately, I just saw quickly online. He plays for Al Ahly, if you guys didn't know, ladies and gentlemen. Supreme player when he was playing for Brentford under Thomas Frank. An absolutely supreme player. One of the top strikers that was getting touted about in the Premier League, and many clubs wanted him. In fact, as I said, I'm going to talk about down the track, logically, would this make some sense if we bring in someone like Ivan Toney? Me personally, I wouldn't mind Ivan Toney, but we're going to explain that later on. But 70% of his wages, right now he plays for Al Ahly. And he's somewhere around £400,000 to about £500,000 in Saudi. They're just printing money. They're throwing money at your face. So that's not a problem. 70% of that. What's 70%? What's 70%? Let me have a quick look. 70% of, let's say, 400,000, right? We take the least, is 280,000. We're not even going with 500,000. Let's say he's on 400,000. He's not going to be less than 400,000. No one leaves the Premier League to go to the Saudi League to earn peanuts. They go there to earn the big money. So let's assume he's on 400,000. 70% of that is 280,000. So from a project perspective, what Chelsea owners and our directors have done since they've come on, especially when the new directors have taken over, the current directors took over in terms of daily operation, and Iqbali started to take over. We don't do that kind of wages. Our wage capacity is at 150,000 or below. We don't do more than that. Very few players are more than that. Very few. And no one's touching in excess of 200,000. I think Reece James is in excess of 200,000. Maybe Kukurea is close to about 180, 190, maybe close to 200,000. But very few are above that mark. To give Ivan Toney 280,000, it's unheard of. It's not happened at Chelsea Football Club. So for me, that already gives away, well, this news is a bit of a nonsense. Then, loan with an option to buy. Loan with an option to buy. Ivan Toney currently, I believe he's 28. So next year he's going to be, or he's already 29. Let me have a quick look. Ivan Toney age. He's already 29. So March next year, he's going to be 30. We've never bought this type of age. Like, it just doesn't fit Chelsea's project that we have under this ownership. We don't do that age. We don't buy, loan with an option to buy a 29-year-old that's going to be 30 next year in March. So these two dot points already lets me know that this is utter nonsense. Absolutely utter nonsense. Even the 6-month loan, you essentially think that Chelsea operate, at a long-term sort of entire season. 6-month loan. We've not seen that kind of stuff at Chelsea Football Club. I'm just trying to think. Did we get anyone for 6 months? Not even Jadon Sancho was for a season. We don't get anyone for 6 months. So all of this stuff, ladies and gentlemen, from Indy Kyler, who thinks this is coming from a top Chelsea source that he's been talking to, or whoever that group is, Indy Kyler, that entire group has been talking to. For me, this looks nonsense, utterly nonsense with all of those stipulations stated. Now, I want to talk about the flip side. Even though it does seem utterly nonsense, let's explore for a second if this was to be true. Can we find any links? Can we find any reasons? And as I said, if this turns out to be true, Indy Kyler's page is going to explode. Now, Al Ahly, they're based in Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabian club. Our owners are very close to the Saudis. Clear Lake Capital actually has investments from the Saudi Arabia. We, not that long ago, a couple of summers ago, we sold a lot of players to the Saudi League. I think Edouard Mendy. We sold, did we sell Ziyech? Probably not. Koulibaly. We sold a few other players. I can't remember exactly who else, but we sold a few other players there. Gabriel, Angelo Gabriel went to the Saudi Pro League. So we've done business. N'Golo Kante is another one. I don't know whether we got any money out of it. I think it ultimately might have been a free transfer. But we've done deals. We have done deals with the Saudis, and our owners, we've seen pictures of them with the Saudi, hierarchies over there. I think it's called Saudi Investment Group. Can't remember exactly what the name is, but we've seen our owners, Todd Bowley especially, and even Iqbali, who've been in close contacts with the Saudis over there. So that's one thing you can say that maybe it's not too far-fetched. You know how our owners work. Business relationships. I scratch your back, you scratch my back. So Saudis obviously have taken some of our players previously. Is this now sort of help us out as well? Saudis are saying. The other thing is, for a short term, it might not actually be the worst case scenario. If we are not looking to bring in anyone, and we've had news so far come out that in January, we're not going to get a new goalkeeper. We are most likely not going to get any new CBs. The two positions, a lot of people in the fan base are looking for improvement, even myself. We've got a plethora of defenders, and we've got goalkeepers as well. None of them are top-notch, but the focus is that Mike Penders down the track might become Chelsea number one. So for a short term, someone like Ivan Toney, I don't know whether we're going to get Fermin Lopez or anything like that in the January window. It might be very difficult, even though there's talks, Fabrizio Romano saying that we're very much interested in Fermin Lopez. Whether that happens or not, I don't think so. Not in January. It's more like a summertime type of a business. For a short term, Delap, He's due to come back from injury around January. We might ease him into it. João Pedro might start operating more as just behind the striker, sort of in that inside forward role, number 10 role, along with Cole Palmer, where on the ball, you've got Estevao on the right, you've got Ivan Toney up front, you've got Cole Palmer and João Pedro, and then Cucurella giving the width on the ball. Obviously, off the ball, it all sort of tucks into place. Basically, the formation would be Caicedo, Enzo Fernandez, João Pedro out wide, Cole Palmer in the middle, Estevao out wide, and then Ivan Toney in the middle, but João Pedro sort of tucks in, which allows for Cucurella to bomb forward and be the furthest left-sided player so that João Pedro is closer to Ivan Toney. So from a tactical standpoint, you'd think, okay, Delap is injured, we might ease him into it, and maybe Ivan Toney for a short-term loan might not be bad. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's an explosive player. We know what type of a striker he is. He's done it in the Premier League. He's Premier League proven. Top striker. People might say, well, Miz, what about Mark Guiu? Well, I don't know. Do we sell him in January outside of the Premier League so he can actually represent another club? I don't know. Maybe his future is probably looking bleak. Emiga, what happens with him? He might just stick around at Strasbourg until the rest of the season. So from a strategic point, for short term, it might not be such a bad idea. And being able to utilize him in the Champions League as well, don't forget, that's a huge added bonus. Someone like Bonanote then misses out from the list. And then in the Premier League, he's a huge boost. And then once the 6-month loan period is over, no one's expecting Chelsea Football Club to buy him. And even if we do, it might not be the most expensive purchase from Saudi Arabia because of his age, and I don't know how long his contract is with Al Ahly. But then again, as I said, business relationship, we could potentially get him on a cheap. I don't know, but we don't have to. We don't have to. So do we bear the cost for 6 months? Do we bear the 70% wage that seems to be the stipulation, which is about 280,000 for 6 months? I'd say from that perspective, and the fact that we have a good relationship with Saudi Arabia, and the fact that it strategically, falls into place, it might not be the worst idea. It might not be the worst idea. People have been screaming out, let's get a top striker at Chelsea Football Club. This guy is a top striker. 100% is a top striker. So look, personally, I still believe Indy Kyler, whoever your source is from Chelsea Football Club, this is utter nonsense because none of these stipulations fit our project. But on the other hand, or on the other side of the coin, the business relationship with the Saudis and the fact that strategically this makes sense for a short term might be a massive boost for us. I wouldn't mind. Someone like Ivan Toney come through. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me know your thoughts. How are you seeing this? Do you see both sides of the coin when I've explained this situation to you, or do you think, nah, Miz, this is mad, this is insane, this is not going to happen? Indy Kyler is just running amok, bit of a troll. Let me know your thoughts. Hope you guys have enjoyed this. Smash up the like button if you're here for the first time. Subscribe, hit the bell notification to stay in touch with all my content. Until next time, take care. See ya. Bye.